Hello everybody, Travis here for Tpull's Corner. We are making our way through the 5 pre-made decks that they just introduced to us from WOTC Magic. They have taken the wilds of Eldraine and created some Alchemy cards, and they mashed together some decks really quick to... I don't know if it was really quick. I don't know how much time they spent on this, but we've got 5 pre-mades that I am putting through their... running around in circles and putting to the test however many metaphors you want to mash together and kill. The name of this deck is just called Celebration, so it's based on the mechanic Celebration. Whenever 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control, something happens. Let's go ahead and do some damage. We'll use the Pain Lands just so we can get stuff on the field. A 3/1, huh? You're gone. First blood is mine. Gross. Okay, Ash comes out. You had your turn, come on. Spell stutter. Gross. Okay, so I'm just attacking for 2. I think they only have 2 of those in the deck. But we're not really situated well with these spells to have 2 permanents come out in a single turn yet. There we go, that would work. Okay, so we're still setting up there. I guess we can do this. We can activate these this time. Let's see. I guess we'll give you Menace. We'll attack with all 3. That's only 5 points. They can do 7 if they don't block. So they're just going to take it. One more from the, let's see, double strike. Down to 9. That would use up all of my mana, wouldn't it? Let's try it. Attach a hero roll to you. Do you have another spell stutter or what? It goes through. Now you see we've got 2 aura rolls on there. One belongs to the opponent, one belongs to me. That's the only way you can have 2 fit on at any one time. I need some removal that works. That's not going to work. This is actually the most damage I can do before I die. We can try and bring that down as well. Just not going to be enough. Yep, they had just enough. They weakened us there. They counterspelled us there. One removal. Very key that gave them the edge. With the very quick flying deck where they could just ping us over the head. And it should be obvious that they won, but they're still taking a very long time. So we'll just leave them here because they can fly over our heads and there's nothing else. Maybe they're still learning the cards, or maybe they just wanted to have fun playing out everything that they possibly could. But for anybody new, welcome to Tpull's Corner. Go ahead and subscribe. Let's go ahead and take a look at the deck. This is the fourth one of the 5 that we've looked at. We're going to put it through its paces. On paper, I should like this. It's based on the celebration mechanic. So we've got Harried Spearguard. When it dies, create a 1/1 black rat creature token that can't block. 1 Melt Through, which is an alchemy card. Does perpetual damage. Stone Splitter Bolt. Expel. If it's bargain, you do twice X. Return Triumphant, gets a creature from mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield and attaches a young hero roll token to it. And that's kind of cool. Bespoke Battle Garb, just equip it for 2. If more than 2 non-land permanents come into battle, 2 or more, you can just attach it for free. Charming Scoundrel. I think everybody knows Charming Scoundrel, right? This is in a lot of mono red aggro decks now. Goblin Morale Sergeant. This is the one that's really big for us. If we get another creature down first, then you can use it to enlist with this, and then you conjure a duplicate of the creature into the top 5 cards of your library. So the haste plus enlist makes it really easy. You don't care if you're doing a suicide run because you've got a couple of return triumphants. You can just bring it back later. We saw the Grand Ball Guest has trample and +1. Rat Catcher creates a couple rats, and then it has first strike. It's your turn. Ash has the potential to be good if we hadn't lost her. When it attacks, if 2 or more, you get +1/+1 counter on Ash. Gallant Pie Wielder has first strike and gets double strike with the celebration. Belligerent of the Ball. 2 or more, then you get 1 creature you choose gets +1 in Menace. Overcooked. This has good potential. It's an alchemy enchantment. Players can't gain life. At the beginning of your end step, you create a food token. Then, if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, instead of the food token, instead you conjure a card named Food Fight onto the battlefield. And you see it pictured to the right there. Artifacts have 2, sacrifice the artifact. It deals damage to any target equal to 1 plus the number of permanents named Food Fight you control. So you get more enchantments, get some food tokens, and just start blasting away. And the type of pre-made decks that we're up against, except for the dragons, most things have a very low life total. Very low toughness. Redcap Thief, get a treasure token. Godric, this is the one that turns into a dragon if you have the celebration. And I used a couple of these. I used Ash, I think I used Godric in a recent one where I combined things. We called it Celebrating Mirrodin, where we used a bunch of Mirrodin artifacts to activate the celebration. It worked really well. This does not have Mirrodin cards. Here's another alchemy card. Conjure 7 cards named 7 dwarves on top of the library in the shuffle, and then you get to exile the top card of your library at the beginning of your upkeep each turn. Cut in, deals 4 damage and create a young hero roll token. And Redcap Gutter Dweller, 2/3/3 with Menace, and when it enters you create 2 rats. So it's kind of like a halfway rat deck. There's a few cards like that, but not. It didn't go total rat. And Lady of Laughter at the beginning of End Step, and I think I had this in my Celebrating Mirrodin deck too. Yeah, but I just had one copy. So if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield, you get to draw a card. And that's about it. If we can just get to the point where we're getting 2 things down per turn, that should be enough synergy to just start firing off everything. But the fairy deck was just fast enough that they kept us confined, and we didn't really have quite enough land draw fast enough to be able to ramp into the celebration mechanic. And you don't need a lot. You really just need 5 or 6 lands, and we could do stuff. But I already had a lot better luck with my take on the celebration mechanic with the deck that I made just a few days ago. So if you're new and you haven't seen it yet, you can look up. It's called Celebrating Mirrodin. Still trying to run a test and see if I can use Urbrask Forge with the Battle Spoke. I haven't been able to get it to work where I can trigger the celebration mechanic with Urbrask Forge. I can't get the right triggers to go off before I want. Alright, do we care about other colors? White, maybe? Okay, let's bring down the Goblin Morale Sergeant. We will have it do the enlist thing. Hang on, we're freezing. There we go. Enlist you. There we go. So he becomes a 3/1. We get a duplicate of Harried Spearguard into our deck. And so you don't have to if you don't want to put extra cards in your deck, but figure at the very beginning it's worth a shot. And Decadent Dragon is stealing our stuff already. Okay, so we're going to do this again, I guess. Dragon deck gets a board wipe already, right on time. And we're missing land drops. Why are we missing land drops? Maybe because we're creating extra cards already and it messed up whatever order was already there. We shuffled the deck too many times. But you know, I've gone up against this deck a couple times in the last day, and this is how we were beat, was by people putting out the Morale Sergeant early. Ugh. So it's not even worth us putting out a creature this turn. There's just going to be damage that they can't heal from. And we don't even... Our X-Spell is not enough to handle 1 dragon still, because look, 6 lands to 3. Even with the Premades, Travis still gets land starved compared to the opponents. Tap land, right? Not going to do me any good there. Dragons are going to kill us quick. Dragons were the first deck I tested in this series. They were really good. It's my favorite deck so far. And like they usually do, they steal my cards and help beat me around the head with my cards. And we finally get a land, and it's a 4/6, so can't really do anything. Made sure to give me the 5th land right when it was too late to do any good at all. It's hard to run their test decks through their phases, or through their paces, when they're not going to give you enough land. And the heavy, expensive dragon decks are the ones that hit their land drops all the time. Nice. Well, we're creating a treasure with that. We're not taking anything for chancing. We got a pain land there. Treasure! Attack for 1. The pigs! Let's use Redcap Thief, burn our treasure, so we can get something down, because guess what? We missed our land drop. Just create another treasure. Pass the turn, the scoundrel can't get past the 2/2. Okay, it's turn 3. I recommend you play a land. I guess we go play with their pet. We're going to be here a while, it looks like. Is it really a tough battlefield situation here? Do you need to spend that long thinking about it? It doesn't matter how long they rope. If they make any move at all, they might win, just because if we don't hit a land, we're going to run into trouble here. Yeah. Okay, well, we can afford this without burning our treasure. Okay, you had your turn where you did nothing. Did they just leave? Did they get up and leave? There's just not enough time in the world for all this roping. I find the more years I put into this game online, the less patient I am with the ropers, and I feel like by the time they're roping me the second time, there should be a report button right here I can press. Okay, I'm just going to attack with the Redcap Thief. I'm not going to enlist or anything. I think our opponent went AWOL. The pigs deck I was not impressed with anyway. We should have an easy time of it as it is. But it's the second time in a row I'm being land starved, so it's not a fair test. Not a fair test when your enemy just walks away anyway. And you can see it's not an expensive deck, just a bunch of 3-drops. All we need... I mean, I could get by on one more turn, but I'm not enlisting to shuffle the deck again at this point. I'm just trying to get to that 3rd land. There's just too much activity here that's involved in getting to land. When it's just your 3rd or 4th land, it's getting to be a little preposterous. And I think we're just going to win by default here. Yeah. Alright, still didn't get much of a chance to see what this deck is made of. Let's give it one more try. Not impressive so far, but again, not really fair when we're not getting the lands. Okay, Arena, give us a little bit of land this time, please. Come to Alchemy. Come check our new Alchemy cards. Come check out our new decks. Watch as you can't cast anything because we only give you 2 lands for the entire match. And then the spies at Wizards that sabotage my gameplay leave. And Arena apologizes to me by giving me twice as many lands in the opening hand than it did all the entirety of the last match. Thanks, Arena. You're a pal. Sure, let's put down the pain land. If we have to use it to cast Lady of Laughter, she'll be laughing through the pain, yeah? Oh, look, they have no problems playing their land. They gave us expensive cards, too, this time. The 4 and 5 drops instead of the 3 drops. Okay, so they skipped the enchantment because they don't have a creature out. They just put a 3/4 out. I'm going to put out our... No, actually, let me do the Overcooked first. That'll give us the food token. There's Kellen's dog. I kind of want to see it in action. It's a complicated alchemy wording. Let's see. Tapped and gain a life. Bring down the Pie Wielder. Auto pay. Take 1 point for the white mana source. See if they're just going to kill it right away. Because now that we have the mana and we can do stuff, yeah, now our opponent has interaction. Destroy my enchantment, will you? Okay, so the dog gets thrown into exile from the adventure spell. It's got the +1/+1. And that's a counter. Let's see. We can bring down Lady of Laughter. They missed a land drop. Nope, come on through. Okay, Pie Wielder comes down. Charming Scoundrel comes down. Create a treasure token. Okay, there's another adventure spell cast. If Hex is in exile with a fetch counter on it, put it into the battlefield. So it comes right back next, right? But it doesn't have haste. So if they keep casting an adventure spell each turn, it's just going to go back into exile each turn. So if they want to have it sit there on the battlefield and be useful, they can't cast an adventure spell for that turn. We're actually kind of flooding out, aren't we? They've been stuck at 4, but they've got the treasure now, so they can go 5. So there's at least 3 of those spells that they can cast. Okay, so they cast a spell from exile, and that brings the dog out of exile. Did not attack. Attach it to you. Go ahead and attack. You'll have double strike. It's going to be a chump block. You know what? Let's just take out the 4/5. Cost 1 more to cast. Okay, so we'll wait. We do get a card draw off of that. They can now cast anything they need to. There's a 6/7. Ho ho ho. The last time we had a spell that, an artifact called Lucky Clover that allowed us to copy adventure spells, it was banned as being too powerful. So, welcome to Chancellor of Tales. This is more expensive to get down, but let's see. If you do put a counter on it, and exile, yeah, we're going to sacrifice a rat. Excellent. Bring you down. Go get you. And try to bring you down. Oh, hello. 17 and 9, and they just give up. They were kind of land starved a little bit there, but they got me down to 9. I guess they were looking at the power of the flyer and the menace, and what I was going to do was put the bespoke battle garb onto Ash, and that would have made it a 4/2, which would have turned into a 5/3. And yeah, it wasn't looking good for them, but they could have got a 6/7 down. I don't know. Alright, let's do one more. Right now the deck feels slow to me just because there was so much land starvation for a couple rounds, and then my opponents are taking a long time, but you kind of got to slow down for this because the Alchemy cards are brand new. Eldraine's still kind of a new expansion. Not everybody's got everything memorized yet, so you gotta have a little patience and let people read the cards and figure out exactly how everything works, and then figure out how everything works together. the more time that we spend with these cards, the faster everybody's going to be. Restless Bivouac becomes a 2/2 red and white ox creature. And we get a counter on the target creature whenever we attack. So, fun times. They don't reveal it, they just bring it down as a 2/2 right away. That's fine, I guess. Okay, so we got an X spell for a heavy dragon. Oh, hello. Oh, that's bad news. Oh, that is such bad news. I can't do anything about that for an entire turn. This is basically, if you get Revis out in the dragon deck on turn 3, it doesn't get any better than that. That only does 2. That has to come in tapped. Ah. We can get a treasure token now. If they have another land, they can bring down a 6-mana dragon. Lots of the dragons have haste. It's gonna be a problem. Okay, let's do 2 to you now, I guess? No, I don't want to burn the treasure. Okay, I got the 4. Yeah, I need to get rid of Revis. And this gives me +1 if I attack, so let's go ahead and attack with it. And let me do the melt through so that there's nothing there to attack next turn. Because I've still got to worry about haste attackers. Alright, 3/4 is as high as he's going to go. They don't bother to steal our cards, they just bring the dragon down directly. Okay, I can't use the splitter bolt, that's too much. So... see, and this is the problem, is I can trigger the celebration, but the wrong creature's there, and they've got enough to block it, and I didn't get the land I needed to go ahead and kill one of the dragons. And they just killed my rats. Ugh. I could have sacrificed a rat the next turn. So we're down to 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, no. So if I bring you down... no, I did that wrong. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I messed up. They can just fly over my head and kill me. That's the dragons for you. Dragons are definitely the most powerful deck so far. I didn't have enough extra energy to cast. I just needed to sacrifice one of the creatures on the field. That would have let me kill one dragon, but they still would have done 4 damage over my head that I couldn't prevent the next turn. I would have been down to 1 life point. So I think that was pretty much hopeless. I still misplayed it there. So, yeah, not impressed. Still out of all of them so far? Let's see. I've done 4 of the 5. Oh, hang on. It's going to go to my decks. It's not going to go to... this is what happens when you do this at the end of the night, just before your bedtime. Let's go in here, look at the decks. Okay, so Dragons is obviously number one. I think the fairies after that so far out of the ones we tried. And then Celebration is still better than the pigs. Really it is. And then I'll try and get to Adventures into Eldraine next before the timer runs out. And I'll make a video out of that because we've got just a little bit of time. I'm not going to be able to get to this tomorrow before the timer runs out. So it's going to be tonight or never. I'm not sure if I can get to it. But I will try for you. There we go. Celebration. If you want a better deck, check out the Celebrating Mirrodin deck that I did just 3 or 4 days ago that's posted to the YouTube page. And we used things like Bespoke Battle Garb, we used Ash, we used Godric. So we did use some of these similar cards. We used 1 copy of Lady of Laughter, but the combination that we did in the synergies worked a heck of a lot better than this. So I'll leave it there. As always, like and subscribe. Leave a comment on what your impression is of this pre-made deck. And if you're going to bother with any of it at all, because it is Alchemy. And give me some feedback. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.